저희 팀은 일단 리스크를 감수해야 하는 팀이에요.
Rush is on the hunt. That was not a good jump in. Well, there's the Zhonya's play. Impact can stand in front of it.
다른 정글러들은 들어가지 않는데 저는 2대2가 되도록 2대2로 싸우면 무조건 이기는 거 아닌가 이런 약간 자신감이 있어요.
Right onto Apollo. Anger toss as well. Here comes Rush in. Could get the kick back. That's going to be Piglet going down. He tries to jump over the wall.
It continually amazes me that he's willing to pick Lee Sin.
The risk-averse strategy is just pick something that scales, farm a whole bunch. Team Impulse aren't like that.
Rush comes in, a ding-ding, a new challenger approaches, and they get the twisted advance onto Sneaky. Rush coming up big.
어쩔 때 보면 그런 걸 성공시키면 되게 잘해 보이고 막 그래서 와, 얘 왜 이러냐 이러고 만약 그 실패하면 정말 멍청해 보이거든요. 그러면 또 아, 얘 왜 이러냐 이제 이렇게 되는 거예요. 수비적으로 있다가 그냥 그대로 넥서스 밀는 것보다는 한 번 밖에 나가갖고 일단 싸우고.
Triple kill coming in for Rush, and it looks like they're trying to back up. Where's the all from Trashy? Getting get the pentakill, going in. Show's gonna take the turret for him. They're giving it. Salami, he goes in, and Shao steals it on the accident.
안 되겠다 싶으면 이제 그냥 지는 그런 걸 더 좋아하고. 일단 저희 팀은 그냥 무난하게 지는 걸 되게 싫어해요.
Welcome to Week 7 of the North American League Championship Series Summer Split. We're coming to you live from our studio home in Los Angeles, and the crowds are pumped up for our 5 games today. Fans of all the teams out here. And hey, bro. How you doing? Up first on the Rift, we've got Kez, Seraph, and the rest of TDK, who will look for their second win of the split when they take on Team Liquid. And, of course, here you see Dominate, Quas as well in their ready room, getting prepped under the watchful eye of their analyst, Mark, throwing some last-minute tips toward them. And then we have Emperor and Piglet making their way to the stage, limbering up, making sure they're nice and loose, getting ready for the game against each other. Hello, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson. The action continues to heat up as teams quickly approach playoffs. And joining me on the analyst desk to break down the action as it happens, we have Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and David Freak Turley. The pointing is helpful because otherwise I wouldn't have known which one of you was which one.
Look, sometimes our graphics screw up and the lower thirds are wrong. So just to make sure, in case there's any technical difficulties, I'm here as a backup.
Yeah. Yeah, Freak. Good guy Freak, always there.
He's got a career as a flight attendant.
One day I'll learn sign language, and if your thing is muted,
See, I like it. We're thinking ahead. We're thinking ahead. Well, let's start with a quick look at how the teams are arranged. And right now, they're all stacked 2 by 2. Hands of blue, starting with Gravity and TSM in first place. Sharing second, we have Team Dignitas and Team Liquid. CLG and Team Impulse are in 5th place, followed by Enemy Esports and Teammate, who are in 7th. Cloud9's in 9th. And then last, we have Team Dragon Knights. Now, TDK will have a shot to make moves, though, in our first match as they challenge Team Liquid. Then it's Enemy Esports versus Counter Logic Gaming, followed by Gravity, taking on Cloud9. And coming up tomorrow, we've got our Game of the Week. Team Liquid will try to continue their climb up the standings when they go head-to-head with TSM. And with only 3 weeks of games left, I want to highlight a few of the teams that are making moves, not least of which is Gravity, who climbed into a share of first place with their confident win over TSM.
Yeah, and I'm honestly a very huge fan of Gravity. Ever since, week 2, they've just been stupidly impressive. The fact that they are innovating so much is always a big, I love that. I love teams that innovate. It's really hard to because if you guess wrong, you waste a week's worth of practice. But they're guessing right. Their counter picks against TSM were beautiful. They're playing around Keen's weird champion picks, but they're working. Coach Kopp is making these comps work. Everything right now looks great for Gravity.
Right, but not all of the moves have been positive. CLG has dropped from 1st to 5th in the span of just 2 weeks.
Yeah, they are on a 0-4 slide here. And you have to question, even though they joke about all the memes and the psychological effect of them collapsing mid-season, because it has happened so many times historically, there's a very real effect now. And, whether you create cinder blocks or whatever, it's definitely not helping the team right now. The big bonus for CLG right now is that their collapse is happening before playoffs. Usually, they don't have any time to turn their season around. You know, there's nothing left to do.
They reach quarterfinals and
because
down
it's
they
playoffs.
go.
But they've got time to turn it around. So hopefully they can. And everybody's blaming Smithy right now. It's not just Smithy. It's the entire team that's making a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely. It is a team game. Then, of course, we've got a horse race for 9th place with Cloud9 seemingly in free fall and a mean-looking TDK, right, looking to come into their own at the right time.
Yeah, so we'll start with the C9 point, and I actually really thought that High coming in would have helped them. I was like, okay, you know, I still think these players are good, and High's going to bring the shot calling, and then it's just going to work like that. Incarnation's good enough that it'll be fine. Turns out that's not the case. High's a good shot caller or not, doesn't matter. Every single player on Cloud9 is having the worst split of their lives. Everyone's losing lane. Everyone's getting caught out. People are flashing into Zach E's. Like, just a lot of bad plays are coming out of C9, and now nothing is working, and I don't know what it's going to take for them to kind of bring themselves back up, but they're certainly not there yet.
Yeah, and for TDK, it was kind of a similar story where they were super excited for their subs to come in. They even had a really good showing their first game when they came over, even though they didn't win. Yeah. But now people are starting to lose faith in them even because, you know, while Emperor and Ninja come with all these great plays and these miraculous kills, they also have some pretty miraculous bloopers to go along with those. So still cautiously optimistic for the new TDK lineup, but yeah, it's kind of a similar story.
All right, some moments of brilliance, as well as some moments of blunder, unfortunately. But now for something entirely different, we want to settle a bet and are looking for a little help over on Twitter. So we're asking you, which NALCS Pro would you like to have as a roommate and why? Send your room assignments to @LolEsports and use the hashtag LCS. What about you two? Who would you choose?
Well, I'm just going to say in before Travis says double lift and gets all the dank meme points.
That sounds.
I mean,
yeah,
it
sounds
happened.
fair.
That's just real life.
Yeah,
it's not a meme.
I mean, so is CLG failing in playoffs. It's still a meme.
Oh, all right. Well, that's enough of that then. Before we get any further down this road of dank memes, we're going to send things over to our casters for Game 1.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. I am Rivington Bisson III, and with me is my co-caster, a dude I'd room with, and a big play connoisseur, Aiden Zyrian Moon.
Yeah, we are technically LCS pros, not professional players, but we are pros.
Right. Yeah. So you can choose us. Let's jump into our first match, Team Liquid versus Team Dragon Knights. And whenever you talk about top teams in North America, Liquid can always be a part of that conversation. Last week, they moved into a tie for 3rd place with a clean win over Team Dignitas, who have also been looking very good. And Liquid aim to keep climbing.
Yeah, and Piglet has really stepped up. Last week, he was the league's kill leader, and he looks solid and consistent every week that we've seen him. But Team Liquid, they can't get caught looking past TDK to tomorrow's game of the week against TSM. They have to focus on TDK, which is right in front of them.
Right, and Team Dragon Knights' new lineup came in with a flash game, taking that off of then first place Team Dignitas, and taking TSM to our longest game of the split, which a few teams have, and then can't seem to find the reins at the end of it. But hopes for a miracle season have started to fade for TDK now.
Yeah, Ninja and Emperor, they came in and they definitely made TDK a much more competitive team. But with all of the good plays, like they were saying on the desk, they also bring a lot of bad plays as well. These players, don't get me wrong, they are mechanically skilled, but they don't always play controlled. They get over-aggressive. This is a move of brilliance, though. Comes in with the Diana 3rd hit, and then the flashback, well calculated there from Ninja. But the calculation just goes out the window during the mid and the late game. Emperor just picked off there. They had a lead in that game against TSM at one point. And then Ninja comes in, decides it's time to 1v5, dives Inox in the back line, and there's even a Shen on this team. Diving in as an assassin, when Shen still has ultimate up, you're never going to have enough burst to kill him. So TDK, they need to keep thinking about these controlled plays and start focusing on them because they're only 2 games from 9th place. So they still have time to pull themselves out of the auto-relegation zone in 10th, and that should be at the top of their minds.
That's right. Hopefully they've watched those as well. They have time to shore up those issues and come out stronger in these following weeks. And if TDK's players go ham again today, Quas says Team Liquid will be able to use that to their advantage.
So TDK, the first game they played against Dignitas, I thought they were just a completely new team into the LCS that was going to crush everyone. They looked really strong in team fights against Dignitas, and I thought their players were really strong. But in the last couple of games that they played, they've shown very obvious weaknesses where they overextend and get picked off. So I think that we'll be able to exploit those weaknesses and create leads for ourselves.
It's got to be a very good feeling
towards the top of the list already in caliber of play, knowing that your fundamental strategies have beaten some of the lower tier teams, and then that caveat going against, or for TDK as the team you're going against, is something they can just grab onto.
Yeah, and we saw Team Liquid actually adjust last week in Champion Select, and if they're saying we don't even have to adjust in Champion Select, we can just play our game and exploit them, then that's going to be a great strategy for Team Liquid coming into it.
Well, let's see how Select goes. Let's get to the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Team Liquid. That's going to be Quas in the top lane, Dominate in the jungle, Phoenix in mid, Piglet at AD carry, and Xpecial at support with Coach Peter.
And on the red side, it's Team Dragon Knights. Seraph in the top lane, Kez in the jungle, Ninja in mid, Emperor at AD carry, Smoothie on support, and Sean as the coach.
Hopefully another day that TDK can put a smile on their face. We heard how much that meant to Seraph, for the team to come together. Maybe there haven't been too many wins recently, only the one, but it meant something to them, and they still feel like they can improve as well.
Yeah, and this doesn't seem like a team that so far has been thinking we're in danger of getting auto-relegated. They seem very confident in their play, maybe a little too confident in a lot of their plays, just going very aggressive, very ham.
Well, you can't sit back and think about that just yet. That will eat away at your mind. Here we go into Champion Select. First game here, as we're already into Week 7. Hard to believe we're getting close to the end of the summer split already, and Worlds is going to be just around the corner. Bans start off, the Vladimir and Diana being taken away. Ninja known to make plays in the lane on that, as we just saw, so they're hitting the target bans.
Yeah, ever since Vladimir was played in Week 3 by TDK, it has been banned against them every game, and the game it wasn't banned was against Dignitas, where they won, with Seraph playing at the top lane. So right now, it's 100% pick ban since that Week 3, and it's won every time they got it.
Sivir, a quick pickup here for Piglet. I think it's something he's gone to actually too much over the course of the season, but he's definitely played it a few times. This is going to be something that TL wants to continuously fight on. Already getting the Gragas. Actually, a bit of disengage coming into the fight as well. This could make some chaotic fights for a target they want to find.
These are just getting riddled off so quickly here. The power picks coming out
think
immediately.
one thing, and here comes the next.
Everybody's drafting for some hard engage, though, and now they're kind of backtracking, going, okay, we need a little bit of disengage here. Team Liquid have flexibility in their composition still available to them because they have multiple facets they can engage, they can disengage, but Team Dragon Knights just looks like a whole lot of engage right here. Emperor's been playing this Vayne in solo queue a whole lot. This is most played.
I want to see it. Hey, he got himself into trouble with the Tristana, one of the safer AD carries, so now you're going to have to be stuck being close to your enemy, so he's going to have some good moves on that. Looked at the Sivir play for Piglet. It's been 3. This will make 4 here, as they're actually looking at a team they don't want to get too close to. Maokai pick up for a bit of initiation with the Alistar already. Sivir over Alistar is one the Team Liquid want in this game as well.
Yeah, you do have to be very careful about what you select here for your mid laner on Team Liquid when Phoenix picks up, because there's so much engage. If it's very squishy, you're going to get to it with the Maokai, with the Rek'Sai, with the Alistar. So getting in there is not going to be a problem.
You know, Zyrene, something we said that might just be on the ban list almost every game is the Ezreal. Hasn't even been looked at this game so far.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I was thinking about this throughout the week, a lot of people have figured out strategies in draft to deal with the Ezreal, and they're just picking things that are flexible. When you pick an Alistar, a Maokai, or a Sivir, you're drafting a lot for yourself. But the fact that Team Liquid, the only thing they have here to help them get towards him is jumping in with Gnar, Sivir, but they have the disengaged support. And supports are usually a big part of how you get to this AP Ezreal. It's going to become a farm lane now in the mid.
Well, all that safety makes me kind of sad as a caster because they're going to stay back. There'll be a lot of pain coming out of that Ezreal late game as well as this Zir from Phoenix. So I'm hoping we get to that pretty quick and maybe we can get a lot of action in between.
But when we saw AP Ezreal drafted by Dignitas last week, Team Liquid drafted a composition in response with the Twisted Fate, with the Maokai, in order to get to him. And that was one of our fastest games of the split at around 28 minutes, 29 minutes. They took down Dignitas so quickly, but they didn't draft for it this time. And Ninja picking up that Ezreal, I want to see what he does on this, because he has tendencies to go aggressive. He's got to stay in that back line.
Well, like you said, Team Liquid coming off that good win. Actually a 2-0 so far for them that they're coming off of. So that momentum hopefully being carried in. Also seeing when they went 0-2 versus TSM and Dig, they kind of used the same composition. So it's almost like they do what they want to. It's been working out for now. Who's going to get our first win of the day? Head over to Twitter at LOL Esports, hashtag TLWin or hashtag TDKWin. We'll tally those up as we get throughout the game. We got a little Santa Gragas coming in from Dominate in the jungle. He's going to be delivering gifts all game long. Kez coming in on that Rek'Sai this matchup. We'll see what the junglers can provide for their teams here. Our first game of Week 7. It's going to be Team Liquid versus TDK, and we're on the Rift.
Yep, Christmas in July here for Dominate. He's hoping for a gift of a victory today for Team Liquid, helping them climb up the standings. 8-4 at the moment. But TDK, they are desperately in need of this win. There are 6 games left in the split, and they are 1-11. Their playoff hopes get further and further away from them every day, every weekend.
Welcome to Summoner's
So now it's becoming more and more, at least play for your relegation spot.
It becomes very difficult. It seems one team plagued by a few roster issues at the beginning of the season. This one unfortunately led to that halfway mark. Your favorite.
So I was,
Flashy. Wow. That's a little BM there. No cookies and milk for Dominate.
I didn't like it at first, but I fell in love with the skin after a while.
Yeah.
It's a little strange when you go from regular Rek'Sai to Pool Party. It's a ton more splashes.
You have to change your lifestyle.
It's cool.
Regular to Pool Party. It says it's itself.
Pool Party's not a skin, it's a lifestyle.
There you go. Exactly. All right. Looks like we're going to obviously get a bit of double jungling here to start, see if somebody can get just a bit of an edge here in the early game, which is something I want to see people do a little bit more in lanes as well, is try to get an edge when you have that lead. We saw EU, the 2 kills on the Fnatic early, and almost nothing happened to them.
Yeah, pressing your lead is something that we saw TDK attempt to do for a little bit, and then TSM was able to come back against them. But right here, they set up the line of scrimmage, they set up the 5-point ward system where nobody's going to walk into their jungle, and then they swap it. So TDK put their Vayne, they put Emperor into the top lane, put Smoothie there as well. This is really good for TDK because this is going to give the Vayne free farm against the Sivir. That's a great situation to be in, but also the roaming power of an Alistar versus the roaming power of a Janna is much higher.
We see that already. Either getting eyes on or trying to get a little bit of harass, and it looks like he just wants vision to see where they're headed out. They also start wolves together before heading over to that blue. So, like you said, the lane swap. You see Phoenix's Azir stats here have been pretty good throughout this matchup. Ninja was actually able to grab Azir last time these teams matched up, where I should say their mid laner at the time.
I mean, this is his solo quadra kill champion.
Right.
It's his favorite champion, and getting a very comfort pick for him. So when you're blind picking against a team composition that already has hard engage, well, I guess he's going to go with Azir here to try and press them off of him at the right time. If he's mechanically skilled enough to do so, he can stop Alistars. It's harder to stop the Maokai, though. If he gets the root off, he goes right under the Emperor's Divide. But TDK, I do want to talk a little bit more about their composition, because they have a lot of hard engage, but then they have a poke champion and a really high physical damage and true damage carry. When you have this poking champion, you really have to keep your team on a leash and keep them updated. Say, I'm poking, I need to get them down to 50%, 20%, 30% before
you don't have
we
a
start
Vayne
going.
that can rocket jump in.
Exactly.
You're perfectly set.
Oh, sometimes you're just really glad that your teammate didn't draft a certain champion.
Well, hopefully they can work on it. Good scuttle control coming from Team Liquid already. Haven't seen too much go towards the top side in the way of TDK. They've been hovering this one.
This is important, though. They have the ward inside of the lane, so they can see everybody coming down. There's 3 members here. Kez is going to see them with the Tremor Sense, though. He knows how many people are off on the side. Emperor's getting free farm, and they didn't get to cut off the turret, and 3 members of TDK are here, and they're safe because they made it in time.
Good bit of movement from TDK to start things off. No lane is really gaining an advantage here. Mainly talking about mid, just a bit of CS as Phoenix is waiting to pick up the wave coming at him. Emperor in the top lane now to go against Quas. We'll see if he starts to get any help, but already Emperor is trying to thread in damage in between the autos. I like this style of play already. Keeping himself safe in possibly a 2v1 here. Dominate's going to be hovering the top side, and this is where Emperor, see if he can keep himself controlled, not tunnel into trying to get a kill. He's already warded it up, so safe in that aspect.
Exactly. He has to be very careful. A Gragas and a Gnar, there's a lot of gank assistance here with the slow, with the jump in and the stun. So there's a lot of ways that Dom can actually get into this lane. There's a ton of routes open to him. Even if he goes up the enemy jungle and comes around Emperor, the ward coverage so early on, there's gaps in your vision control.
See what the movement of Kez here is, just watching him as well, going over Raptor side.
Yeah, Kez understands this. So Kez is going to put wards down for Emperor, keep him safe, because it's just so vulnerable.
Emperor, he knows. He wanted one more CS.
He better know. There were 2 wards down in that lane.
Sometimes you just need the last CS. You're saying, I get it. We know what's going on. Bottom lane, not going to be too bad. It's a smoothie. It's a horse in a tree, or a horse, yeah, a cow in a tree, I should say.
Of course.
So not going to get too much action out of that one. You can see the last matchup back in week 1 between these two teams. Pretty bloody for the time it was. 30 kills, about 43 minutes. I figure we'll get the same one here with the Ezreal and Azir on the other side. Phoenix is Azir, nonetheless. Actually, funny little story. Just before today, he was in the player room, and he asked one of the player coordinators, he said, why when I type in Phoenix does Azir not come up in the champion list? Bit of confidence there coming from Phoenix on his one of his favorite champions so far in the LCS.
That's an extremely strong champion.
Yeah.
At all points in the game, you have good lane presence. When you hit that mid game, it's definitely something that you have to be conscious of. And then late game, if you didn't draft for it, it's going to tear your team apart. Luckily, TDK does have a good draft for dealing with an Azir. Right now, it's just people trying to find openings into the lane. Nobody, mid laners haven't backed yet, AD carries haven't backed yet. We're waiting for those item points. BF swords are now available for both AD carries.
Yep, right when you get around
another wave.
50 CS, you'd be good to go. There's a pack. We already saw the hit from Ninja, so he goes back, gets his Sheen. We start trading a little better and continues to use his True Shot Barrage to keep that mid lane pushed. 2v1, keeping things slow here to start it off, but 1,000 gold lead found out by Team Liquid just by moving around. Laying off the ball here in the lanes.
Emperor's missing out on some CS, but he's constantly keeping the wave pressed, and he's got all the potions out of Quas. He's continually got the 3 stacks of True Silver Bolts. And he's kind of sacrificing farm for damage. As you can see, Piglet up above him right now. They both back for Bilgewater Cutlass and BF Sword. And then they swap it back after you get that first buy. Now there's a lot of kill potential in this bottom lane, depending on how they play it out. Smoothie, level 3, he has all of his abilities available to him. If this Alistar is able to make a play, it could result in a kill.
See how they decide to do it. That is a level 3 Smoothie, level 6 Emperor coming in. So he does have that ultimate to use as his advantage. 5 and 5 on the side of Piglet and Special. See if they decide to tango in the bot lane. Phoenix still pushing in on Ninja here. We'll see if he continues to use the True Shot Barrage to push or add assistance here to the side lanes.
And Smoothie, his Alistar play, he's had some flashes before actually headbutting or actually pulverizing. Or pulverizing in place sometimes. So I want to
antsy.
I know it's his first LCS split, and he's excited, but he needs to be able to channel that nervous energy and make it so that he's able to actually perform on the stage, because it's something that's plaguing this team a little bit. Now that they have everybody back,
understanding the situation is what builds confidence.
Exactly, the confidence on the stage.
You're not going to be able to get it if you don't try.
But you build it by doing it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Dominate hovering towards the bot side. Looks like junglers have the same thing in mind, but may not be there for any type of engage. You can see the pings coming out to tell where the wards are. The side of TL. Sarah has a very nice route around Phoenix. That was a slow shift, or a very short shifting stance, I should say. And they're able to get out of this one safely. Nice Emperor's Divide. He plays that one with a very cool head.
Yeah, Seraph just showing up in these lanes. Oh, Special, what?
Whoa, Special puts himself in between the wall. Bumped once again. That could be him going down for first blood. The flash in from Emperor. Dominate's already on the bot side, though. They're able to clean him up. The Retribution kill comes in, and the TP is stopped.
That first blood did go over to Smoothie, though. It didn't fall into the hands of Emperor.
The Ignite hit it.
So it's not that Vayne getting first blood. It's the Alistar.
A very interesting series of events. Might have been a bait there. And seemed to have worked out. See where the kills went, right? You said support. Dominate came up with that kill. So very nice trade in that one.
Yeah, Special hit 6 after he was dead off of the assist. So no chance of disengaging that. But it walked a little too far forward, and you have to be conscious of those walls. Always when you're against the Vayne and an Alistar. But ultimately, it does end up a little bit better for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Because they get farm onto Piglet. They lose some on Emperor because of the fact that he's dead for so long. And the kill doesn't go over to a support. It goes over to a jungler. But there's more assists on it as well. So that gold is actually split up a little more.
Quas thinking good thing. Sarah's teleport now down. Quas is as well, but there's no play to be made from those top lanes that neither of them will fall behind to. Yeah, yeah, feeling the same thing, guys.
Yeah, and right now, though, Phoenix, when he was up against AP Ezreal mid before, he set one of the best CSs at 10, where I think it was 104 at 10 minutes. He basically got perfect CS against an AP Ezreal mid because he's able to just take that moment where there's no pressure from that Ezreal. And he's 20 CS up right now, and you can see it manifesting as this 1.3, 1.4K gold lead for Team Liquid. There's out-CSing in the top lane with Quas. They're out-CSing in the mid lane. And down bottom, it's getting a little more even at the moment.
So no turret drop, no extra gold really to those guys in the mid lane. That's about 370 gold in CS that Ninja is now down just from being missing those. So very unfortunate. Definitely going to miss those item spikes that he wants. And Phoenix may be able to take control of the first objective fight wherever those guys want to go. It's going to be in the favor of Team Liquid. Very good at getting themselves a lead in the early game and somewhat holding it. We've seen most of their errors towards that late game. Piglet now being the one to get hit up. Special 6 this time. Still has the Monsoon to use as Dominate is just lingering in the fog of war, but so is Kez.
Yeah, Dom and Kez there. The pings come out. They do see that Kez is there with the wards. But another thing is, Kez is actually about 700 gold down over Dominate. Dominate, though they're equal in CS, he has the first blood, and he's been getting most of the Scuttle Crabs. So the Scuttle Crab just adds 1 CS, but it adds about 80 gold. So when you get multiples of those, it looks like you have the same CS, but you actually have way more money. Great by Phoenix there. Keeping the pressure onto Ninja and just bursting down his tower and chunking it down over time while he's still working up to Runeblade. That is one of the problems with AP Ezreal is you don't have that lane presence.
Yep, as soon as he builds it too. That's got to feel pretty bad. Oh, going hard on this one. He's just standing right inside the auto tags. I understand at some point it's a bait, but you're almost costing it, or paying for it with your own life. Kez, this could be a play from him, but he doesn't want to tunnel in with Dominate being able to disengage so easily. No troubles there. True Shot Barrage is not up.
And the turret right there, too. Yeah,
right.
I was watching Kez, and if he wanted to make a play, he would have gone in his previous tunnel and then used his second E to actually gap close. But he didn't go for that. He went for just a reserved play because there's still barrier on Phoenix as well. Getting through that is going to be difficult, and Ninja didn't have ultimate to burst him down either. They're just trying to make sure that when they get to this mid game with the AP Ezreal, they're not super far behind. Some losses are acceptable because he just has such great comeback potential. You saw Xiao Wei Xiao on it on that TIP game where they were down, he bought a Magi's and they came back. Not just off the Magi's, but off the fact that AP Ezreal was drafted against a team that didn't really have a way to deal with it.
Right. Well, it's going to be difficult now. Ninja down all that CS. Definitely missed being able to farm it out in the lane, so the spike's going to come even later now. That ability power is really what's going to help. If you clear the lane, though, that Runeblade is finished, along with being smited out. We'll see where TDK tries to open up some doors from here. 2K down, it's going to be very difficult. Looks like they'll start with Vision. That's one place. Missing quite a bit of wave, or quite a bit of minions in the bottom wave.
And this is, for all intents and purposes, a late game team composition from TDK. You're waiting for the Vayne to turn online. You're waiting for the Ezreal to turn online.
True.
Not making early moves. It's honestly beneficial to them.
You were saying that earlier.
At
least they're keeping it in mind.
Exactly. Keep it in mind. But the fact they're playing towards that strength. But Team Liquid are also playing towards that, where they know they have better early game presence. They have a little bit more to offer in that.
And man, we haven't even seen this Quas yet. Black Cleaver already 118 to 90 CS, and he has not participated in too much. So I'm sure that's going to bring some pain in. Teleports are up for those guys. Could be a play made here as Dragon getting a bit of attention with that Vision as we just saw. So things could get active here soon.
And a great note here is Seraph, this is his first top lane Maokai game of the LCS because he's always on carry top laners. Aurelia, he's playing Vladimir, he's playing Rumble. So we saw him on Lulu last week against TSM and it worked out okay for them early game. But Seraph on a playmaker, that is where he likes to be, but he likes to deal damage as well. He likes to carry, and they're putting that into Ninja and Emperor's hands. And something that since we had the sub-squad of TDK go away, and we have the actual TDK here, it's becoming more and more of a strategy where Seraph is relegated to supporting in the top lane.
Right. It swaps a little bit. They did try it once while they had the subs in, that Mundo game they threw in, but still didn't work. Like you said, there's a big impact he brings to the table. They may be missing out if they don't put that factor in. Here, Ninja and Emperor, however, like you said, to scale into the late game, will bring enough power. There's no doubt about that on the Ezreal and the Vayne. But 3,000 gold behind is going to make it difficult to find an opening, to find a window to get in. Still that pink ward in the deep rush of Quas. I think something will happen late game. Crazy teleport in a fight that we're not expecting. We'll see.
It's already a 3,000 gold lead, and keeping wards around your mid lane when your turret is down is important. It allows Ninja, now that he has the Runeblade, to keep pressing up. They're lacking a bit in the ward control, though. TDK have no wards on the top left side. Down bottom, though. Ooh, nice little chunk there.
That'll give you the advantage in the lane really quick. That Emperor style of always wanting to apply damage and put a little pressure on the lane puts Piglet and Xpecial down to half HP. They're going to be able to make this wave a little bit harder to farm. You can see Piglet just wants it clear. They don't want anything under the turret, and they don't want to get dove, that's for sure. Wards are already telling them that's not going to happen, but the damage they've taken could already hurt this dragon. Attempt dominates, still going to try for Kez. Apply a little bit of that medicine for himself. Oh, Xpecial right next to a wall. Emperor gets focused on. Smoothie trying to add the peel, but right now he's just being a tank wall. And they're going to have to get out of this. That's the teleport from Quas. Actually, rather, not the teleport. It was stopped from Quas,
Yeah,
I should say, in the top lane. Both of them. Nicely done.
They both were trying to TP in, but it was not a good situation.
Right.
So Seraph canceled his, and then the follow-up cancel from Quas.
Ooh, oh boy.
Oh,
the arcane shift in. Phoenix actually wants it. Flash over the wall. And he actually makes that pretty deep flash there. Nicely played. Almost getting the third kill of the game. Still 1-1. You see both teams very aware and very scared of getting into these situations.
But 50 CS down here for Ninja. He's going to pick up some. He's going to go to around 40.
Imagine if he wasn't. That probably would have been
Yeah, but Phoenix
a little
still
bit
has
more AP.
Phoenix still has his flash. Ninja doesn't have his own now. So all in all, that trade back gave Ninja some CS to catch up, but Phoenix with a summoner spell advantage. So honestly, it ended up being a good play by Phoenix, forcing the flash out of the Ezreal, because now he's more catchable if you're going to make a play in the next 5 minutes.
Seeing what options TDK can look for here, other than wait. Hopefully get Team Liquid to move into their jungle. Know them as a team to not make mistakes. Previously, they would make calls, make a mistake, and then really kind of be afraid to pull the trigger. Ever since the cooperation with Piglet and whatnot was sorted out last season, it seems like they're all on board with the calls. They're, even if it's a bad one, they're all about going in on it. We've seen Xpecial get into a few sticky situations already in this game that put Team Liquid pretty much on top of either area control or objective control. So it's still working. They know when to go in.
And it's not only the calls, the laning. Ooh, missed it there, but the laning has been absolutely great from Team Liquid in comparison to TDK. Quas is up 1,000 gold, Dominate's up 800, Phoenix is up 1,000.
Yeah.
You see Piglet up 300, and Xpecial's up 500 right now, even though Smoothie has a kill.
Yeah, the one kill they have. Still the assist over to Emperor. He's been trying to utilize that, put a lot of pressure on the AD bot lane. Top lane will be the third turret to drop. All outer turrets now, without TDK being able to answer, which is going to make it difficult to push on in. Try to get anything back from Team Liquid. It's all about Liquid now, trying to figure out where to poke next, where to get those wards in. Oh, Emperor thinking he was alone with Piglet, still tries to go for the kill a bit. Sees Smoothie on the backside. They do not go for the kill. A lot of calls from the rest of the team there to cooperate on that one.
Yeah,
Up and coming through.
Emperor with the Silver Bolts max and just turning it around on Piglet there. It looked like Piglet wanted to go aggressive afterwards, but Emperor got that final shot off and definitely dissuades you from continuing. And the True Shot Barrage follow-up from Ninja. It would have been a kill if they continued to go forward.
Yeah.
But here comes Dom off from the side. And the ward coverage throughout the river from both teams at this moment is good. They're trying to keep that bottom lane intact. But all 3 outer turrets are gone right now for TDK. Team Liquid, they can just press this line up. They can get deeper into the jungle. The thing is they have to do that, or else TDK just gets free farmed lanes if they get shoved forward. Like you can see Seraph in the top lane, he has waves to farm. The CS is going to continue to crash towards him, but Quas is doing the right thing, and he's going forward into the jungle, and he's trying to at least scout. Where's Kez? Can we get tabs on him? Figure out where the enemy jungle is, and then get your wards down and get get your vision control so that you can continue to keep the pressure up like this. Because now that they see Kez, he can continue to farm, he can continue to press up with no constraints.
Nice hit there. Luden's just finished up by Ninja. That's going to be big for him. Hopefully the team can start getting a little bit of this poke down and utilize a bit of it. Like you said, though, with that vision coming up onto Kez from Quas, may be difficult. So far towards the top side of the map, and already Quas moving in to make sure that's warded and make sure the Rek'Sai farm alarm is not going towards his side of the map. 33.3 to 28.6 now. Team Liquid has had the lead the entire game, still coming up onto 20 minutes now. It's a very solid play from the team throughout.
Yeah, and the Luden's Echo completed for Ninja, and then the Abyssal Scepter from Phoenix.
Yeah.
Although it's in the Azir, and you typically don't always have people in range for Abyssal Scepter, the MR is great against this composition that essentially has one long-range threat, and that's that APS. Now that he has Luden's Echo, his poke is definitely online, but they're having some stacking of MR here that's definitely going to help Abyssal Scepter, and it looks like Dominate is on his way towards an MR item. It looks like it's going to be Spirit Visage just from the components, but I wouldn't be surprised if he pivots and goes for an Aegis.
Yeah, interesting. It would be an easy buy for him. It would definitely help the rest of the team. Phoenix already looking to make a big impact here.
You see Quas already went for a Spectre's Cowl as well up against Sarah. So this team is just stacking MR, trying to make sure that Ninja does almost no damage to them, because the amount of damage, percent of a team's damage that APS rules do is absolutely ridiculous. Usually around 50% of a team's entire damage is just that one champion. And Phoenix, he's just pressing his advantage. We haven't seen a grouped up team fight. We've seen people just, these 2 kills are from that bottom lane fight way long ago. It is 21, almost 22 minutes in this game. One dragon down.
It's basically like Team Liquid has actually kept the laning phase controlled and going.
Yeah,
with how hard they've been pushing it, you pretty much haven't had too much roaming, besides Especial here, and everybody's still laning.
And when you think about it, TDK's composition, it scales well, but there's only 2 people on that team that scale really well. And then you look at Team Liquid's composition, there's about 2 people who scale pretty well on it.
Yeah.
But TDK are just flat out losing laning phase a lot. Just this 5,000 gold advantage to Team Liquid, 3 turrets, all this pressure. They have to pretty much ace Team Liquid, get some turrets off of it, and then they're able to actually equalize this. It's a tall order to execute up against some Azir as well.
I mean, that's almost what we hear from Quas in the beginning, right? TDK makes these mistakes, but they do have those fight mechanics we have to watch out for. Laning phase is not their strongest, which is going to make the fights harder, but if they're doing well in the fights, what can this team do if they do well in the lanes when they do better there? A lot of questions to be answered.
And they
don't have enough time
at the moment. So TDK look like they might pick up the dragon here. What do they sacrifice for it? Dom's going to look for the steal. Both top laners looking for TP. There is a home guard onto Seraph, though, so he will be able to rush into this fight onto whoever he wants. And Dom gets the steal.
Oh boy, this is also a fight the Team Liquid can hit as well. Dom going to go down here. They may actually not want the rest of this. Dom couldn't find himself a way to get out of the Dragon Pit. Phoenix back onto the entire team. The bump on Ninja and Kez. They can't even put out the DPS. Seraph, Emperor, and Smoothie all now on the run, and they're really trying to pick up kills in this fight, but they cannot. They're headed for the base, and it looks like this might actually be the finalizing ace here. Liquid getting in for the rest of the kills. Phoenix actually went the high road, and he might be able to take out Emperor before he takes out Phoenix. One more kill. It's going to be Piglets. The auto attack coming through on a Seraph. That's the ace for Liquid. 6-2 now.
The landscape of that fight was definitely in favor of Team Liquid. 5,000 gold advantage before it even started, and then TDK tunnel onto Piglet when he's not even the biggest threat on this team. Going after Phoenix needs to be a higher priority for TDK, but Team Liquid executed perfectly. Phoenix just outplaying left and right there. You can see Emperor's going to flash over this wall after they take out Dominate, and that leaves Phoenix to do whatever he wants. Emperor goes over the wall. Phoenix comes in from the side here onto Ninja, and there's no threat onto Phoenix. Ninja tries to get in there. He's dead, but Emperor and the 2 threats of TDK were just separated off, and that's exactly what you want to do against this type of composition, is separate the 2 threats so you can pick off one and then work on the other afterwards. Even with this huge tank line, it didn't matter at all. They had access to Ninja because of Phoenix's wraparound. He went around the bush, and then he came from the backside. You don't expect him to come from your side of the map.
So you eventually have to group, and That's what TDK was trying to avoid. You got to go around the dragon at some point, and Team Liquid used it perfectly. Unfortunate for TDK, they are now walking and dancing to the beat of Team Liquid's drum here, actually. It's going to be very difficult to get out of that dance, too.
Yeah, Team Liquid in absolute control of this game. 8,000 gold up, 25 minutes in, with very minimal fighting. It's been one team fight, and they've walked away with 5 kills from
Yeah.
it.
It was 1-1 up until 22.5 minutes into the game. That fight got explosive, and that fight only made Team Liquid that much bigger.
Just the execution of the fight and understanding what TDK's composition is all about, and then TDK Emperor flashing in over the wall and not sticking with his threat. He was trying to just decimate the backline. They took out Dom, but then they didn't get anybody else for it in that entire fight.
Phoenix was able to dance around nicely. Emperor's Divide really shut down a lot of the damage.
He was placing the Emperor's Divide, pushing people right into his soldiers. His soldier placement was great. Ninja had to fight him on the soldiers afterwards. Just really, really aware of where his soldier placement is here for Phoenix and just how to play around it and how to force enemies into it. And that, probably one of the lowest damage APS or ultimates we've seen.
Yeah, that's very true. We see him actually have the Sorcerer Elixir, trying to get a little bit more power in there, knowing he's behind the curve right now, and he's not doing enough in these fights.
And Dom also built that Aegis of the Legion, just immediately went for it.
Yeah.
Made sure that his team had the magic resistance, and that's what you should do against an APS roll. That is your adjustment. He did knock him out of the pit, but they still secure the Baron. It's Baron for Team Liquid, 26 minutes into the game. Huge gold lead now, 9,000, almost 10,000 for them. Approaching that critical mass, and despite TDK having composition that's 2 threats late game, they're not going to make it to that late game. They're doing, Team Liquid is doing to TDK what they did to Dignitas when they drafted an APS role. They didn't let them get to late game.
There's something as well that people, anybody should notice about Team Liquid is they approach every team the same. Whether it's TDK, whether it was Team Dignitas, they play it the same exact way. The respect is given there, which means they don't fall behind in silly situations. Yeah, they have before, but the majority of the time, they're doing the right thing as a team. Or if it's the wrong thing, they're still following as a team and trying to make it work.
Yeah, and they're going back to team fight compositions. We saw them do a split push last week, but Team Liquid busting out another team fight, making sure that they can take over the early game and the mid game, and then make sure that they can transition and be effective against TDK and just shut down TDK completely. Now TDK has to go for plays like this, where they're trying to take out Quas in the top lane. Emperor and Seraph, no, they haven't been spotted yet, but now they have. Well, good presence of mind there by Quas. Like, a lot of people
I told you that pink ward was going to come up. They cleared a ward. But yeah, right, this late in the game, nobody's going to be here. I think that good rule of thumb always is this bush is warded or somebody's in this bush. Always.
But because of that, they know who's top, and they immediately press the bottom. They get a turret for it. Now it's a 10,000 gold lead, more than 10,000 at this point, 10.7.
Very smart play by Quas. Just because of a ward clear, the team actually gets quite a bit out of it. And that's kind of tells you about how big the lead is as well. Little things like that kind of just crumbling for TDK as they try to get advantages. It's going against them, unfortunately. Coming up onto 30 minutes, pretty demanding lead here by Team Liquid. Once they actually had, I think, Dig by this time. Yeah, they were in Dig's base, so very slow, methodical about their games.
Well, they won that game so quickly, too. It was one team fight by a tier 2, and then they just took the entire base.
That's true. I mean, it could happen here.
It could. It could definitely happen right here. There's the Ezreal ultimate coming in. Hits, it just barely touches Phoenix.
Wow, that's not something we've seen very normally from the Ezreal ultis.
There's
the Monsoon. Oh, pops him back. Dominating with a nice explosive cast. We could get a deja vu here of that Dig game. It's only going to be the inhibitor, it seems, on this one. A few too many are up. They still have Ninja to keep it going. That's right. They do have Baron. Can Ninja and Emperor do this? Seraph still a bit of a tank line for them. Liquid doing what they can. Looks like they may just go ahead, back off through this one, through the walls, but they want to make sure they're getting out fast so they can get back to the fight.
Back by, use this gigantic gold lead, and look at that, dominate, perfect itemization here. When you have an AP Ezreal, lock it for your team. They have a Vayne, Frozen Heart, third item. Just shut down that Vayne as quickly as you can. Don't get armor for yourself. Be selfless as a jungler and help your team out. It's only 2 threats, too, on TDK, and they're both effectively shut down by the build that Dom has gone this game.
Also the way that Team Liquid is getting this gold, how it's stacked up amongst everybody. 2 kills along, especially with 7 assists. perfect way to distribute that amongst the champions on your team. So it's even harder if these guys match up 1v1 in any situation for TDK to fight a Team Liquid member.
And I still steal there from Ninja, but I don't know how much good it's going to do when you're 13,000 gold down.
It's a light at the end of the tunnel. Whether or not that fizzles out very quick.
Got it with my higher level smite.
It's a bit of a light. We'll see what they can do. This is going to be the one of the last defense chances that they have. Already Phoenix trying to set up a little bit of an outside base here with his Legacy of Shurima turret.
Phoenix has just been doing a phenomenal job in this entire split. As a whole, he's been such a huge threat. You can see they're trying to fight here. Dom a little too far forward.
Piglet, a little bit of damage onto him, but they disengage nicely. Oh, wow, Smoothie comes in huge. They start to delete Team Liquid. TDK was looking for this fight the entire time. They got a little too confident on the side of Team Liquid, and TDK takes a hold of that advantage.
They still have waves to clear. That top wave was huge, and they can do some damage control off of that. Late game team comp might be turning online. Dom a little too far forward. He got punished for that so hard underneath the turret, and then Xpecial walked up for the disengage, but then that put everybody in a perfect position.
No reason to be here.
Watch how Smoothie plays this fight out. Dom goes forward, takes turret aggro, has to barrel away, but then Kez goes in, and this sucks everybody back in. Get Kez, boom! 4-man knock up there from Smoothie as they take out the other member who wasn't knocked up, and they just clean up the fight after that. Phoenix, this is how you get that access to that back line. I was talking about it, when you have this hard engage, if you use Smoothie and the Alistar to get to the Phoenix and the Azir, you're going to have a really good team fight there. They got all the threats in one place and well executed there by Smoothie. Those are the types of plays that he should be making on this Alistar.
That was a really sweet play. He got headbutt range and then flashed during that to make sure he was already moving forward to the destination that he wanted. Some fast fingers there. We were kind of criticizing him about his pulverized combos earlier. He nailed that one. It came up big for the team. That's the result when you hit a nice one. And the team is definitely getting a little bit of payback for that. Still at 10,000, 11,000 gold here that they're working to get back to themselves. And a little bit of CS has been closed there for Ninja in the mid lane, which is also helping him now to turn online. Hopefully not too little too late as they start to fight back. That minion wave in the top, you can see Seraph right after that fight had to go to it immediately. It was huge and already starting to bash onto the Nexus turret. So they have a lot to worry about still as they get their foot in the door.
And TDK, you can see they have a lot of fight in them. This is a team that when they see a good fight, they will take that fight. Sometimes the execution on it needs some work, but right there the execution was absolutely perfect to turn it around, giving themselves 4 kills when they desperately needed it. This is a team that's facing auto-relegation right now. There's 6 games left in the season. After this one, there's only 5 more, and they are 1-11 at the moment. Every win, they need to pick it up if they want to be able to fight for their chance to stay in. And you can see they're fighting right now against Team Liquid.
Well, the only instance was Dominate making that mistake that they've been able to come back. It can happen again. We just saw it. He tried to body slam onto Seraph. Really no reason to do that under an inhibitor turret as well.
Yeah.
So I think a little too...
It was aggressive.
A little too antsy and aggressive.
It was extremely aggressive.
They thought that 11,000 gold lead would carry them through the fight pretty much.
Exactly. Baron up. Seraph has his TP, so he can clear this wave, no problem, then TP in. But the vision control from TDK, it's hard to get in there. We'll see though, they got the TP out of them.
50-50, nothing you really want to give up. Dominate's pretty hurt starting this, but that's perfect. Emperor gets hit up, trying to look for some minions. His camps are clear. He actually has nothing to go back and farm right now, so he's stuck with that amount of HP until they actually get into this fight. They're saying, can we wait for a minion wave? Can I farm this up real quick? Let me get some HP.
This is so good by Liquid, though, because they just wait for the top inhibitor to just have minions pressing in. But right now, they're going to try to do this. And yeah, they take it at half HP, they back off, and it's just going to be a dance right now.
TDK knows. They're not going to just walk into that fight. With the minion pressure, Team Liquid are able to back here. TDK, I don't think they have anything up their sleeve for the time being. With Dominate staying out,
go for Baron.
Showing, I mean, that would be the perfect time to do it. 50-50 still with Dominate being up, and he is a guy that likes to throw himself into the fire if that's going to happen.
Yep.
So they don't choose to either.
They don't choose to. Quas still has his TP.
That's true.
This inhibitor
a lot of ways to get back.
Is completely fine. It's going to defend itself.
think that almost a tell, too. If Quas is in the bottom lane, you know that TP's up. And they're just saying, hey, you know, we're dangling this carrot over Baron. You should go for it.
But this gives Team Liquid so much pressure in this game. They're able to split push. This wave will eventually push itself out. Ezreal ultimate comes down to clear it and press it towards Quas, so it takes a little bit longer to get there. But they still have to deal with this top minion wave, shove it out, make sure it can't be backdoored, but also keep tabs on the Baron at all times while Quas is shoving bottom. So TDK, they have an opportunity to start a swift and quick team fight if they can catch the back line before Quas is there with the TP. Then it would be the ideal team fight for TDK. But Team Liquid, they have so many tools and so many ways to actually just take an objective or to force a fight where they get a flank with Quas or Quas to their front line. They have a lot of options here. And look at that. Oh, Emperor!
Oh, no! Oh, his flash just came up. Didn't use it. Actually used his heal. A bit of a fight back and forth. That's the second to third time Emperor has gotten caught in the start of a fight and causes the team trouble. Now down the mid lane, Team Liquid begin to push in. 45 seconds onto Seraph. They may get another turret. They just decide Baron, because that'll lead to the rest of the turrets.
Seraph just jumping in by himself, trying to keep them off. And Phoenix just peels him back, and then the team picks him up. Just immaculate play there on how to execute it. Chunking down Emperor to 1/3 HP, forcing the heal out of him to even just get out of there.
Whoa! Face of the mountain. Actually, that's just Storm Shield coming out. No face of the mountain to have forward special this game. And again, they can't do Baron. A good true shot barrage kind of doesn't really correct the error that just happened, but definitely helps to stave it off.
But it gives TDK a dragon. They chunk down Dominate. They'll be able to pick up a dragon for this. They'll get a little bit of pressure, but they also stop a 5th dragon from coming out. If they stall a little bit longer, TDK, they'll get to the point where gold doesn't really mean that much when people hit 6 items. And that's what they're banking for at this point, is if we keep stopping them from doing Baron, and they keep going back to Baron, we keep having this dance and nothing happens, eventually we're going to get to the point where we're even despite the gold advantage.
So, I'd say 36 minutes in, that 6% is pretty nice for TDK to get. Hopefully it can help them finalize some of these kills they've been having, go down to 100 HP. Not this time. That one's going over to Phoenix. They get Baron. That'll be the empowered backs. They may want to try to defend some of these turrets before they do so, and TDK actually can't even push forward anymore. So, safe and sound are the turrets here of Team Liquid. They've only lost one the entire time. That was the bottom tier turret we saw getting dropped in the early part of the game.
And TDK were not in position to actually contest that dragon, or that Baron. Emperor was still shoving up mid lane, and then Seraph was coming back from the base. He died while nobody was even in close range to get in there and actually try to attempt to steal or attempt to stop it. So Team Liquid finding these openings and exploiting little tiny mispositions of TDK. But it is TDK. They've been down 10,000 gold for the past 10 minutes. 10 minutes ago, Team Liquid was shoving that top wave.
Yeah.
Now, they're pretty much in the same spot.
You have to consider that they and Ezreal getting stronger. You have to be much more careful in your positioning of the fights and kind of creating options when TDK is pushed up against their own base wall. We've seen Team Liquid make mistakes now.
Man, Quas is going for this Blade of the Ruined King build. He's just trying to blow people up, and look at that! Oh! Annihilated there.
I looked away. I'm sorry. I had to. Time number 4. Unfortunate. Very different pathing Emperor is taking. Nobody's there to save him. No real reason to be there that far away with all these turrets down and the inhibitor ready to go down.
Yeah, the capitalization off of it. Immediately ready to body slam in there. And they pop the Simmer ultimate to get there, too.
Completely ready. They're almost looking for these instances to continuously happen.
But Quas was talking about it in that sound that we had before the game, where he was talking about they're going to make mistakes. We saw them come in. They were super hyped.
Yep.
We thought they were going to be this team that's just going to surge out of the bottom of the standings. And then they actually arrived, and they got to their second week of play, and we saw a lot of mistakes. And they were saying we can reveal those mistakes, put them in those situations, and then we will react to them and execute on it and give ourselves an advantage. And that's exactly what Team Liquid has done.
And the risk reward over any of that, what that situation would have been, he had 800 gold. A minion wave would have put him to 1,000. He had a pickaxe looking for maybe a Blast Whisper, but he got a no magic mantle. So there wasn't anything you wanted to buy. Interesting decisions as they get pushed tighter and tighter into their base. Dominate, pushing everybody back. There's just no close here for TDK. They're always just a few steps away. In perfect reach for Team Liquid to continuously do damage. Smoothie getting chunked down. The boomerang blade comes on back. Cuts down the calf, and we are going to be onto the Nexus turrets on this one. 40 minutes on the clock. TDK, they hold out. They put up the brick wall, but Team Liquid able to knock it down eventually. Looks like these guys are good carpenters here. They're throwing it back up. Mason workers, I should say. And they will live a little bit longer. Looks like Team Liquid may have to back out once more before they go for the Nexus.
Whew. The kite backwards from Team Liquid in that fight was really good.
Yeah.
The way they're playing this composition, Sivir Ultimate to run around in a circle pretty much, use Phoenix to peel, use Dom to peel, Quas can even peel for his team, and Xpecial as well. So they drafted really well to deal with the champions that they had seen from TDK before their final draft. So I absolutely love what they did, because they weren't expecting an AP Ezreal. And AP Ezreal honestly probably shouldn't be in this type of team composition, because it's so much engage. You have to poke first and then engage afterwards.
Yeah.
AP Ezreal's
pick for its power
exactly.
in the situation. Almost kind of baited yourself into it.
They didn't really set up the ideal situation.
Well,
for
it could always work, as I say that. There's
Yeah.
a situation where it works as well, but it definitely, you're right, it seems to fall off a little bit with everybody wanting to go in, and Ezreal's saying, as you said before, guys, I still want to poke. And now they've actually kind of flipped sides, whereas they were remembering to do that before, they're almost forced to engage and make sure these fights are going their way.
Sometimes an OP champion is around in like a moth to a flame. A pro player to an OP pick doesn't set up the situation for it, and this is what ends up happening. Because Ninja's having an okay game. His scoreline is one of the best on the team.
He brought himself back up, had the chance to, made sure it happened. A flash body slam
Dom's too
that
far
may
forward.
leave Seraph going down. Dom actually gets taken down by the Essence Flux. Smoothie comes in now. Big shots from Emperor. Those were the crits to come in along with the damage from Ninja to take down Xpecial. And there's a few getting hit out. There's the kite back. Once again, you talked about it before, Zyrene. They continuously pull back. A great amount of disengage and just pushing around, displacing the team of TDK so they can't get the damage they want. The damage is now onto the Nexus for Team Liquid, and 42 minutes on the dot. Team Liquid take down TDK. Yeah, sighs of relief there at the end.
Coming in with their game plan. TDK are going to make mistakes. Be ready to capitalize on them. They had a great composition to do so.
Yep.
When you have engage, you pick counter engage as the counter. And that was really well done there. Really well executed from Team Liquid. They've just flat out won the laning phase as well. Did an amazing job of getting just a 5,000 gold advantage before the first team fight. A lot of that was off Dom's pressure, the fact he was picking up so much free gold in the jungle, Phoenix's pressure in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Phoenix is really establishing himself as a top 2, top 3 mid laner in NA.
Absolutely. Amazing things coming out of that guy. The ability as well to just keep in mind this game, to stick it right to Ninja in the mid lane. Take his tower down before your Rune Blade, before that Trailblazer's even finished. And he had no chance to push the lane. Every true shot barrage being used down that mid lane to shut it down, and it almost worked towards the end of the game. Emperor still a few catches there that starting a fight with half HP, yeah, you can heal back up, but the ground gain, the territory that you lose in that situation was just too much. And against a team like Team Liquid, they won't let that area go. They'll continue to move forward.
And Team Liquid, they're always in the conversation for being one of the top teams. They moved themselves to 9-4. They have the same wins as Gravity and TSM.
Yeah.
They're just one loss behind those first place positions.
Definitely different stuff coming in from Team Liquid this year. Piglet and Xpecial, a much smoother bottom lane from these guys, even when Xpecial has to go roam this time. Piglet, much more control, much more confidence in his play as well, playing with the team very well. The Sivir pickup, like I said, going to be number 4 for this season, or this split, I should say. Last was Dignitas in week 6 over that win. It was 6-0-3. So Team Liquid, like I said, also like to kind of keep things that are working in the composition. To reflect on that, the TSM Dignitas in week 4, they kept running the Rumble Sejuani Jace comp, which didn't work. So they'll definitely make changes as well, but they don't always throw something to the wayside if it doesn't work right away. I think it's something that really puts them up there as the top team. They're willing to try stuff, as well as Dom in the jungle, trying things. Tried a little too hard in the inhibitor turret that one time and got his whole team killed, so there's still things to be fixed on both sides.
Yeah, Phoenix did an amazing job that game. And you're saying there's things to fix on both sides. TDK, Ninja did 61% of his team's damage.
I saw that too.
61% of his team's damage. And then you had Emperor following it up, who only did about a third of the damage or fourth of the damage.
Yeah.
In between there, a third or fourth of the damage that Ninja did. So it was really only a one-threat composition because Emperor did not get rolling in that game. And then the fact that it's such a long-range Azir, you can't even catch that guy. So
it's kind of like you said before. It was that one threat because they chose it to be. Had it been something else, the rest of the team.
The comp had a dyssynergy in it, too, around the Ezreal.
All right, for the down low on that match, let's throw it over to our analyst desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. You know, that was a game that we were looking at, and we're saying that it probably should have ended sooner than it did.
Yeah.
Due to a few miscommunications and misplays there by Team Liquid moving through the mid-game. But let's first look at how they got to that mid-game, that state in which they did have the lead. Laning phase, we saw CS advantages pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
And in the jungle as well. It wasn't just
true,
all
yeah.
the lanes. During the lane swap, where all the lanes were actually fairly even early on, Dominate had a 400 gold lead really, really early before the lanes even swapped back. And then once they swapped back, we saw Phoenix taking his lead, Quas taking his lead, and the bottom lane,
Yeah, to talk about some of the specifics there, Dom has kind of quickly become one of the farm-heavy junglers. Like, back in Season 3, it was Meteos who would always have a gold lead by out-farming everyone else. It seems to be Dominate now. He's still one of the players who will actually go back and play Sejuani and not gank to level 6, and he's just seems to be repeatedly getting farm lanes because of this. As far as the mid lane matchup goes, yet again, AP Ezreal loses lane. Not a big surprise there. Doesn't do much. Free farm for Phoenix, that's cool. Top lane matchup when it swapped back. Gnar is still one of those premier top lane bullies, and Maokai got a couple sustained nerfs a month or two ago. It actually matters a little bit in his early laning phase. And then the bot lane as well, I really like. You can play Sivir Janna as a heavy push lane. You give her the AD shield, she ricochets the wave down. You can make Vayne lose CS under turret. But what they chose to do, which I thought was very smart, is Dom wants to farm, and Rek'Sai's a scary ganker. And Alistar, Rek'Sai will kill your bot lane. And I was glad to see that Piglet, despite having some hubris as a person, he's like, we will probably die, even though I probably don't respect these guys. So I'm gonna let it play safely and let us farm out. That's my, proposed mindset for Piglet. There was he played it defensively because it was the right choice, not just because he couldn't have played aggressively.
All right, so Team Liquid played out the early game correctly. Now, where we saw that gold lead kind of balloon was in that one dragon fight where TDK had the dragon stolen away, but then decided to engage that fight entirely. Things just seemed to kind of fall apart from there.
Yeah, I mean, they started the dragon when they have a poke comp with Ezreal. They were behind in gold. They had no reason to really start it. Both top laners had teleport, and they paid the price for it. In that specific fight, Ninja didn't do much damage at all. He got like one spell off because Phoenix was able to take him out in the fight. So you see really high damage numbers for poke champions pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
But the meaningful damage in the fights that matter, that's where, Phoenix really shines and Azir took over.
Yeah, and it's a little bit disheartening to TDK. I was talking to Smoothie before the game. He said their week's worth of scrims were really good. They were feeling confident coming in. And this is the squad that had been playing together. Like, we talk about roster swaps all the time and how you take time to build synergy. This is the team that's built synergy. And the fact they're not able to play a poke team properly, right? They're getting collapsed on a dragon when you should be baiting dragon and saying, go fight for this ward, poke, poke, poke. They're just on it and getting jumped on. And that's when the engage is an unreliable Gragas ult, an unreliable Gnar ult, an unreliable Azir ult, like, those are things you can poke around and play around. And unfortunately, TDK didn't do that.
Oh yeah, there also was that miscommunication when Vayne got chunked out and Seraph goes for the engage. That's just pretty much the nail on the top.
So some miscommunications there for TDK, but some miscommunications on the side of Team Liquid as well, as we saw the one big fight that TDK was able to take under their own bottom inhib turret, Dominate, getting a little bit too ahead of himself and the rest of the team, going under the turret with that, with the Cinder Hulk to pull aggro. And it kind of brings up the question of going in against TSM tomorrow, what are they going to need to shore up to have a much cleaner game against a much better team?
Be a bit more patient. Obviously, I think they disrespected the Ezreal damage because they never had a fight with Ezreal doing anything. And then when you get Alistar comboed into Ezreal, that's actually a lot of damage. And if Ninja was approaching level 16, that's even more damage. And you have to respect the fact that even if you're up 10,000 gold, CC just negates that. So just be more smart about your fights. They obviously played very well.
I think that was just a single unforced error right there. He knows that's not a good idea to go under turret and draw aggro like that. So, yeah.
All right, well, yeah, they've got some time to discuss it and whether or not they need to make any changes before tomorrow. But when we come back, In 3.5 minutes, Counterlogic Gaming will try to get their groove back when they take on Enemy Esports. Don't go anywhere. The action continues after this.
Actually, today's Steve's birthday.
Okay, let's get Steve a win.
Yeah.
Do it for Steve.
Yep.
For Big Steve.
That's the motivation.
Big Steve.
Phoenix back on the entire team. The bump on Ninja and Kez. They can't even put out the DPS. Seraph, Emperor, and Smoothie all now on the run. There's the Monsoon. Oh, bops him back. Dominating with a nice explosive cast. We could get a deja vu here, but they disengage nicely. Oh, wow. Smoothie comes in huge. They start to delete Team Liquid. TDK was looking for this fight the entire time.
Just hit the front line. Hit the front line, Rek'Sai.
Going. Okay, nice, nice.
Vayne. Okay, you can end.
Team Liquid take down TDK.